Hello दोस्तों. So the very exciting and extremely thrilling Ashes series is over now, and without a doubt, like it was one of the most you know thrilling and exciting Ashes series ever. Like right from the first day of the first test to the last day of the fifth test, like the audiences were on the edge of their seats, and like it was like a roller coaster swinging from one direction to another. So, and ultimately, it ended in a tie, which was more or less a fair result for such a thrilling and such a suspense-filled tournament. Now, in my opinion, like in terms of the performance of both the teams, in terms of the cricketing performance of both Australia and England, what I honestly felt was the performance of the English team was on the whole better. It was altogether slightly better than the Aussies, although the series ended in a tie and the Aussies have retained the Ashes. Like if you notice in the first two tests, like even those two matches were extremely close contests. And if you notice carefully, like just 1 hour prior to the end of both the matches, it was appearing as if England is going to win. Like even in the first test, Australia were 8 wickets down, and probably they needed more than 50 runs to win the game, and somehow the Aussie captain Pat Cummins did it for them, and it was appearing that it is England's game from there. And something similar happened in the second match as well, which will be remembered for that controversial run out of Johnny Bairstow. Otherwise, 1 hour prior to the end of the game, it was appearing that the English team will get it in their favor. But somehow, the first two matches were won by Australia, and then England made a comeback. They fought back and won the third test. The fourth test, it was completely England's game, and it was really unfortunate that it ended in a draw due to the rain. And in the fifth test, well, it was a complete roller coaster, and England were dominating it. They started dominating from the dying moments of the first innings, and then there was some brilliant performance by the Aussie openers in the fourth innings. But ultimately the English team won, which was kind of a miraculous victory because they took 7 wickets in the last session. I mean, that was really remarkable. And see, like I would not like to take anything away from the English team, because altogether, see, in this series we can say that cricket has been the winner, and it was a very even contest between the two giants of Test cricket. So, but still, like there have been talks around it, and there many experts have been suspecting that maybe this was kind of a script, and like they just wanted to gift it to Stuart Broad, who was playing his last game, because the way everything happened, the way things unfolded, it was kind of it was appearing like a movie in which Stuart Broad was the protagonist, because the last 2 wickets were taken by him, and it couldn't have been a better farewell for him, because like it was appearing to be Australia's game, the way they were batting in the fourth innings, like 140 runs opening partnership, and they were just 3 wickets down. They were 238 for 3, and it was appearing that they will win it, and only two outcomes were appearing to be possible, either an Australian victory or a draw. But cricket is rather a funny game. Like England came from behind, and they won it in the last session. They needed 7 wickets on a wet field. Like it was raining throughout, and after the rain, it becomes slightly more favorable for the batting side, but they needed 7 wickets in the last session, and they won it. And the last 2 wickets were picked by Stuart Broad. So it is somewhat, it appears somewhat fishy. And like many a times these things happen in cricket. Like many a times, in order to bid farewell to some legends, the opposition team does it. And it was appearing like a movie in which Stuart Broad was the protagonist, because he took the last 2 wickets, and it couldn't have been a better farewell for him. So there have been talks around it. People are suspecting that something wrong was going on over there. There was something fishy. But still, let's not take away anything from such a brilliant contest in which both teams fought brilliantly. They fought to their full potential, and ultimately it ended in a draw. Although I think if you look at the overall series, even if England lost the first 2 matches, they were it was appearing that they will win it. Like just 1 hour prior to the end of the game, it was appearing that England is going to win, but somehow Australia managed to win it, and then England made a terrific comeback, and it could have been 3-2 had there been no rain in the fourth test match. So altogether it was a great contest which ended in a draw, and Australia retained the Ashes. Now coming to the numerological analysis of it, we can definitely come to the conclusion that numbers were favoring Australia, and that's the reason they didn't lose it. Even the first 2 games, they were appearing to be down and out. It was the viewers were getting a feeling that England will win it, but despite that, Australia won it. Even the win predictor was predicting that England is going to win, but despite that, Australia won it. Despite the fact that the series was being played in England, so it was the home ground for England, and the fourth test. I mean, you can just guarantee that had there been no rain, England would have won it. But rain saved them, and due to that, the fourth test ended in a draw. And the fifth test, well, although people are saying that there was something fishy in the last session, but still, England managed to win it. And at the end, Australia retained the Ashes with a 2-each result. So that's the point, the numbers were favoring the Australian team, and it was due to the favor of these numbers that Australia didn't lose it. They retained the Ashes, and as I've always mentioned, that numbers are supreme. No matter, how brilliant you perform, there's no alternate to hard work. I mean, we should stand by it, but at the same time, we have to accept the fact that numbers are supreme. We should not use them as an excuse ever. Hard work and smart work along with it should always be done. So when I say smart work, even in our day-to-day lives, we should do our best to while performing, we should give our best, but at the same time, if we also abide by the supremacy of these numbers, and if we follow the remedies, we follow whatever instructions that numerology gives us, life would be life would become way better, and we can prevent major obstacles. So on the whole, we can say that it was the numbers that favored Australia, and due to that, they didn't lose it. The series ended in a draw, and Australia retained the Ashes. Although the English team performed well, although it was the home ground for England, and had there been no rain, the result of the series would have been 3-2. But just because the numbers are supreme and the numbers were favoring Australia, Australia didn't lose the series. The series ended in a tie, and Australia retained the Ashes. So this was, a review of this extremely exciting, suspense-filled, and thrilling contest between Australia and England, which was definitely one of the best Ashes series ever. So we will continue with discussions on more such interesting stuff, and also with our series of predictions. So stay tuned for more, and we'll continue to come up with more such interesting stuff related to sports and other areas as well. Thanks a lot.